Barak Shalom, everyone. It's Out the Box Kingdom. Talk with me, Out the Box Kingdom. I hope you all are having a wonderful yum. I just wanted to come on here because I, just got finished reading Telehim 111, but mostly Telehim 94. And it's just more so confirmation and reassurance that Yah is going to take care of his people, and no matter what those elite people, or should I say the lawless ones, may think in their mind that he doesn't see anything, he sees everything. He's in control of everything, right? But that's not the primary focus of this message today. Back earlier this year, or should I say last year, I did after my 41-day fast, and y'all had me to come back on social media to start giving word to his people. The first message he gave me was back to the roots. And back to the roots was more like we have to get back to the ways of what our people used to do when it came to honoring Yah. Not just following the ways of the Torah, but obeying his commands and instructions, but also our way of living. And so as I was sitting here, it's like he was saying the message today is Back to the Roots Part 2. And it's just to go more in depth of things. The reason why, if we really sit back and take a breath and push ourselves from the desk of busyness, and you sit back and really observe, people are not in peace. They're on this rat race to nothing, or should I say they're on this wheel, or should I say the treadmill. I was never a fan of the treadmill, and I didn't find out until later on that the treadmill was actually a torturing device for slaves, and it was the Ruach HaKodesh that gave me that perception, because I was watching a young lady, she just running. She thinking she's doing cardio, but she ain't going nowhere. She just running in place, but not making any progress. Yeah, the machine may tell her she's making progress, and she may be sweating. But if you look at it in the spiritual sense, you're doing all that hard work just to be running in one place. So, and that's what people has been doing. They get up every day to a 9-to-5 job to be making the same wages. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have nothing in your paycheck to say you'll be able to pay all this and have plenty left over. Or you have a savings account. At this point, it's even hard to have a savings account because something comes up, an extra bill out of nowhere, and here it is, right? Now, I'm not coming on here to rant about the nonsense, but I'm just saying the reality of things, right? Because it's a repeating cycle every year. Man has their holidays, it repeats itself every year. It's one day, and people stress themselves out by getting gifts or trying to cook up this feast. But when it comes to the feast of Yah, it's not just one day, it's several days. You know what I'm saying? We celebrating with Yah, and it doesn't cost, really. It's just us coming together and feasting. But when it comes to Black Friday, which we know Black Friday was them selling slaves as an auction on that day. That's why it's called Black Friday. Learn your history, people. But every holiday created by man has a history behind it of a massacre or somebody dying or being killed. And now it's a national holiday. Why would you want to celebrate that? And how they do it is, you get a free meal and things like that. But It's like people working themselves to death for nothing. There's no peace. You have people, you can tell people that hate their job, and then you have some people, they love their job because that's what they're called to do. Now, when I say back to the roots, part 2, it's more so learning to get back to the simplicities of life, regardless of them may saying, oh, upgrade this. They always making people think that upgrade is better, or should I say keeping up with the Joneses. But who are you really trying to keep yourself up with? Because really, in actuality, you're putting yourself in more debt than getting yourself out of debt. Every time you trade in your car, unless your car is really towed up and y'all tells you to get a new car. But if your car is working perfectly fine, why would you trade your car in for what they like to say more upgraded features? But really, it's more features that they can control in your vehicle. It's going to cost you more to get it fixed versus an older model car. As long as it's getting you to point A and point B, that's all that matters, right? But if you pay attention to the news and all that other stuff, which we shouldn't really, it's always consume, obey, fear mongering. If you don't get it this fast, now you're gonna miss this sale, and the sale is a joke. Is 10%. 10% ain't nothing. That don't even put a dent in the cost of what you think you're getting the sale on, right? The only time you see a big deal on something is if it's something that's cheaply made and they know they can make, mass productions of it, right? So this world is definitely an illusion, but Yah is telling his people to get back to the roots, get back to simplicities of life, where regardless of the chaos that's going on, you're seeing people stressing out, you're in a place of peace, right? For instance, when it comes to his daughters, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you, if you haven't already, Yah has been telling you to get a sewing machine. And some of y'all are great seamstress, but y'all are going to be like in that time of clothing or fabrics or something like that. Y'all going to be like not Dorcas, but Dorcas, or should I say Lydia. Lydia was, she was the one that was the merchant of fabric at the fine linen, but then you had Dorcas. She was a seamstress, and it's a lot of you that do love to actually knit and sew. But in a time of clothing and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised if Yah has you growing your own cotton and having you to make things for your family, but he will make a way for you where you be able to do more for your community if you haven't started already, or should I say own clothing brand. People are stressing out, let's just say SNAP. We know that SNAP was not created for people of melanated color. It was made to provide for the people that don't look like us, or should I say Gentiles, right? But however, they made it so they use it as a cunning way, because that's what Satan does. Well, if we can get them on here, but we're gonna have to tell them they have to get rid of the man of the house first. It was like control to divide and conquer, right? But you can't work, you can't think for yourself, you cannot, you can't make too much, because we are the one to provide your medical care and all this other stuff, right? But it's really a stagnation, because the moment you decide to think out the box, they're ready to snatch everything from you. You no longer can live in Section 8 housing, which why would you? Because there's rules and regulations with that. And that when they snatch it from you, you stressed out, but really it's more in you than what you know. That's if you come to know Yah. And I was that person on food stamps, but I wasn't totally dependent on the food stamps. I didn't want that to be my life. I was in Section 8 housing. When I first got out of the military, because I was, on disability from the Veteran Affairs, I got barooked with a nice apartment that happened to be Section 8 housing, but it got to the point they had so many stupid rules. The landlord was very nosy. It's like they would try their hardest to see if they can get you out. I think she was a DL person that, because she started off as sweet at first, but then the enemy started getting in her. But my rent was only $25 a month. I was like, man, that's amazing, right? But it was there for a while. But if your pay ever goes up, they go up on your rent. You know what I'm saying? And food stamps, once again, was based on your income. So it was more like I used that more as a stepping stone because I didn't want to live with my mom or my aunt. But it was a stepping stone. And when Yah was saying my time was up there, that's when he told me to go into flight attendant, or should I say a international traveling school. And that was a career. So there's things that are meant to be stepping stones, but it's not meant for us to stay there. And sometimes things like this, like the taking away from, the SNAP benefits and the Section 8 housing is actually going to help a lot of people if they see it. But right now, people has been so dependent on it because they're in a place of compromise. They're comfortable. They see it as a curse. Like, why is this happening to me? But if they really come to know who they are, and that means come to know who they are in Yah, they'll see life is so much better. So once again, the back to the roots thing, the whole sewing thing, we have writers, we have computers, but you stand at a blue screen all day. Your cell phone is technically a monitoring / computer as well. Another blue screen that ruins your eyes if you're staring at it all day. You're not getting really anything done, right? But if you're a writer, me personally, I am a writer, and I don't like typing. I don't like typing what I'm writing on a computer all day. I actually like my notebook and pencil or pen. And it's more personal, especially when you're writing to Yah and getting your thoughts jot down on paper, or you're writing a story and you can go back and pick up where you left off at. It flows more versus you seeing this little cursor. I don't even know why they call it cursor, but thing just blinking, and it's like you're staring at this white screen, and it's like, what do I write now, right? And people's like, no, but it's convenient. But is it really? Because the day the internet goes out, all your work is done, is gone. So I see how Yah is bringing back or leading a lot of people, especially us, back to typewriters. Because typewriters, yes, they can be expensive depending on which ones you get. But if you're writing a story, you're hearing click, click, clack, clack, ding, here and there. But you can take that typewriter with you. You don't have to use extra electricity to have it plugged up. There is no screen staring at it. It's just a white piece of paper. Then you can buy bulk paper and write your story. You know what I'm saying? And, once you're done, you can go back, and if you want to type it on the computer, you can print it off, but you have the original copy. But it's something about, I have a better understanding now. It's something about when you have a lamp or something like that, and Yah is just giving you downloads of your characters or something like that. And I love staring outside, y'all, so excuse me, my window is open. But it's just something about when you're able to get away from technology. They make it seem like you have to be completely dependent on technology, but you really don't. Because let's get real here, our family members didn't have technology the way we do now, and they were able to survive. Life was much quieter. It wasn't much noise. It wasn't many voices. It wasn't a lot of distractions, you know. But yeah, like I said, I see, a lot of us, if we haven't now, going back to paper and pen and typewriting versus everything digital. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of us just say, hey, I'm ready to just go back to a land-based phone and a flip phone that doesn't have all that mess on there. Every social media platform, games and stuff to distract you from the things of Yah. And they don't break as easily as these computer screens, and it don't cost as much. Who wants to pay? I finally got off that bandwagon when I was like, you know what? I'm done paying $1,200 for a phone. And then they have it where either you have to pay in full for it or you making payments. And what may seem like 36 months ain't long, but it's really long when when you start seeing your account going down because you're trying to pay on the phone. That next thing you know, because they're doing so many upgrades, your phone is not going to work anymore because now they done upgraded again to a 6G or something like that. Let's get real here. That's what they do. They know how to market. Like they say, consume and obey, right? Next thing, when I was talking about the SNAP benefits, aka groceries, right? They have a limitations of what you can get with them SNAP benefits, right? But if you look at people's buggies that have these benefits, it's all ultra processed foods. And then they wonder why their children has all these mental health issues and other health issues like diabetes because the chemicals in it, right? Of course, they're going to want to pay for where you can get $500 worth of groceries. Now you letting your children eat all what they can hold, but yet you're dealing with heart disease, high glucose levels, or A1C, which is diabetes, ending up on insulin, having ADHD, attention to desk, so they can put your children out on all kinds of medication, which counteracts the other, which hinders the body, or should I say suppress the body to heal. But that's what you're getting. That's what you're willing to downplay your life to receive, right? Not saying you can't get fresh produce with it. I'm quite sure you can, but people don't look at it like that. So a person that says, I don't want to live this life anymore. I want to do things the way that Yah wants me to do. That's where the whole wanting to turn your backyard or your house or your garage into an indoor gardening space. And it's a beautiful feeling when you're able to grow your own food, that you know that your grocery store can be your backyard. Now, far as getting bulks of rice, or should I say quinoa and stuff like that, then you use the rest of your finances or whatever to buy big bags of quinoa, your beans and stuff like that, so you can have a supply. Because quinoa technically is not rice, it's a seed, but it's way much healthier than rice unless you're eating wild rice. But you'll be at peace knowing that if hard times come, you can always make beans and rice or whatever. But you can go outdoors and in your backyard and get your cucumbers. It hasn't been sprayed or GMO modified, and you grew that yourself. It feels like an accomplishment. Yes, it's work because pulling out the weeds and thistles and all that other stuff, But it's a beautiful feeling when you can go out there and you literally see tomatoes or whatever you put out there, and then your herbs, somebody gets sick, but then you get to come in your house, make things from scratch and can them. Yeah, a lot of us is going back to canning as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if Yah has not placed in a lot of his daughters Ruach to get dehydrators or freeze dryers. Because, freeze dryers, you can cook food and freeze dry it. And it's it's great for up to 12 years. As far as the food, you just have to add like a whole year to it. I mean, not year to it, but just add water to it and cook it. So back to the roots is part 2 is pretty much saying, people, it's time to get back to simplicities of life. You're not, okay, he's giving me the word deficient. You're not as deficient as you think you are if you allow Yah to order your steps. You know what I'm saying? If you allow Yah to give you all ideas or downloads from the Shemians or the plans that he has for you. But once again, you gotta come out of her. Like he said, come out of her, my people. Because everything, they have used so many cunning marketing ways that people don't even realize they have idols in their life. The SNAP benefits, that's an idol. Medicaid, that's an idol. They tell you got to have insurance, that's an idol. Do you really have to have all these insurances that they're telling you, or they milking you dry, but yet they sitting back and eating caviar and stuff while you penny pinching, trying to figure out how in the world you're going to pay for your things. When a lot of things that we pay for, unfortunately, are supposed to be free. And so y'all see everything that they're doing. But a lot of y'all, it's like you're waiting for y'all. Y'all, are you going to do something? But y'all is waiting on you. He's waiting on you. You waiting for him to move, but he's really waiting on you. You could be actually sabotaging your own growth by you still feeling like you got to hold on to that job when there can be some amazing barukas in your very belly that you've been overly due to birth. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited, even though we have, get yourself prepared. We don't know how the second Exodus is going to really play out. But Yah is in control over everything. I just got finished, matter of fact, reading. It was actually all the books of Baruch, and I was just in awe when it says, by the time things get worse, and Yah is going to command the arets to begin to yield fruit again to feed his people. And I've had dreams about that. That's the provision. Like, I get it. Things are going to be hard for those people that have not turned back to Yah. But I'm telling you, it's like Yah is reassuring us. Y'all have nothing to worry about. Stop worrying. There's not enough preparation of materialistic things you can have. But however, he will give you wisdom. Okay, Yah. So he's like the woman with the oil. She felt like she didn't have nothing. They was piling up debt on her. When her husband died, she ended up taking on the debt, and they was going to take her sons into slavery. She went to the prophet, and all the prophet said is, what is it that you have? She went to Eliyahu, and she said, all I have is a jar of oil. You see, her mindset was that this is all I have. This is one thing. Okay. Get your sons, get many jars as you can, and you can look at that in two spiritual ways, prophetically. The vessels, empty vessels, is people that she's filling up spiritually with the word, or this is just a gift, because Yah tells us at the very beginning, be fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm saying? Not consume, but be fruitful and multiply. And whatever provision that he's giving you right now, you make every little step. You may not be able to get everything you need for that particular thing, but you take every tiny step every day to invest in that vision that he's giving you. And however, as long as you're being consistent, make sure you rest. As long as you're being consistent, Yah will send you the helpers that will bring you the next things or the things that you need to keep working on your things. Look at you, Noah in the boat. But anyway, back to the woman with the oil. If she hadn't listened to the prophet and say, "That's just oil," though, it actually has worth. You know what I'm saying? So she listened. She sent her sons out, and he said, the moment you can't collect no more jars, the oil will stop. But it may not have seen as many jars, but when she cashed them in, it paid off her debt, and she still had oil left over. She lived a very peaceful life. So when I see a lot of stripping of things, like all these system related things, Yah is wanting his people to realize there's actually wealth in the inside of you. If you come in agreement with me, I'll show you it. But it's not for you to get wealth for your own personal gain. It's to help your community and people. You know what I'm saying? Even in Goshen, when chaos was going on in Mitzrayim, Yosef and them, they had bread and everything. And here come the wicked people talking about, hey, we willing to trade you. We need that bread. It's just bread. But they was willing to trade their most valuable possession for that bread. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said it's time to get back to the roots, like separating yourself from all these things they have, blindsided us or desensitized us to make us think that it's not an idol, but really it is. You're depending on these doctors, but unfortunately a lot of them has taken the oath, and they gonna, because they want that money, they're gonna do whatever it is to take people out. The food industry, they all work together. But when you come and you begin to eat healthy, you connect with brothers and sisters that's like-minded, it's a wonderful thing. If we look in the book of Maccabean, when it came to Shimeon, they got rid of all the idols. He got rid of all the idols and those wicked people that was going to be a stumbling block. And because of that, they had peace in the land where everybody else was warring against one another. And that's where Yah wants us to get back to. Stop fighting amongst ourselves, but come together. And this ain't no revolutionary thing, but this is just revelation. Every time the people was willing to do the ways of Yah, there was peace in their land, and they was able to operate in excellencies. They was able to take their enemies down. They were able to toil the land, and the arets would yield its fruit to them. They won't lacking nothing. But because we've been desensitized and trained because of our color, we are inferior. And there's nothing inferior about Yah's people at all. If you read the history, we're very hybrid, intellectual people. And we just have a heart to help people. But unfortunately, the people we want to help or we have helped have bit us every time, or has snatched away what we have helped them with, and they have taken it and have forgotten about us. And we have been left in the prison while they're sitting up there like the cupbearer. The cupbearer didn't say nothing about Yosef, but guess what? Y'all had an appointed time for Yosef to come and sit at his position. And guess what? It was above that cupbearer. So on that note, do not be afraid to go back to the simplicity ways of living. If Yah is telling you, because I think it was the other day, I was telling my mom, I said, you know what? I think I want to get me a clothesline. Because you may use your dryer around winter months, but let's get real here. In the summer and springtime, it's something about your linen having a fresh outdoor smell. Because my grandma used to do it. My grandma did not have, matter of fact, she did not have a dryer. She only had a washer, and it didn't matter. She would hang her clothes up. And if she couldn't hang it up in the wintertime, guess what she did? She hung them on her doors in her house. My grandma was impressed about a lot of technology things. She had a screen-in porch, or if it rained, if it was hot in the house, because she had a screen-in porch, after it rained and it was cool outside, guess what she would do? She'd open her front door. Because, we was out there in the country, in the deep country. But even though I was raised in the country and in the city, I always found myself wanting to go deep in the country because it was peaceful. I can walk outside barefoot. I didn't have to worry about nobody bothering me. It's you and nature, technically, besides the fire ants. But don't be stepping in them red fire ants, ant piles, because they'll mess you up. But other than that, I love the chopped firewood in the wintertime. I don't know, it was just something about that. My grandfather did that. But that was free heat. There was no electric bill unless it was, turning the lights on to go bathe. But if something needs to be rebuilt, my uncle was great about remodeling. And he learned that he had that talent naturally. Didn't go to school for it. So what I'm saying is, people, there's more treasure gem in the inside of us than what we know. And in order to do that, we have to go back to the root and allow Yah to break us out of this bad habit, or should I say the jail cell of the mind, or that we have to be totally dependent on all this high-tech things which we know came from the fallen ones to take us away from Yah, or to make it seem like we are our own GODs, but we're not. That's man's philosophy. That's all deception created by Satan. But when you come in partnership with Yah and he tells you to build this, it's not going to crumble and fall. When they try to light fire to it, it's not going to crumble and fall. When they try to bring a flood to it, Yah ain't going to allow that to happen. And so what I'm saying is, don't be afraid of being simple and simplicity of life, because that's peace. That's where peace of mind or rest, because you getting off that endless wheel of trying to keep up with everybody else. So what if you wear off-brand shoes? Whatever that off-brand company is, you're not out there for show. Whatever. It's just a name. You can easily make your own name brand shoes, for Yah, jewelry. So I love it. So it's time for y'all to come out, people. You people that still trying to hold on to the matrix. It's not worth it, because it's meant to destroy you or to kill you, and you will never be satisfied. But when you come into knowing Yah and you learn to be content, you know that he's in control of everything. That's where you have peace. And so, once again, another thing, back to the roots, men folks, us ladies need you. A lot of y'all are great with your hands, carpenters, mechanics. You know what I'm saying? It ain't too hard for y'all to build things. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah. Your wife got a vision, or your woman got a vision. Help her build a little tiny house shed for her business. But y'all great with your hands as well. And I hate to see my brothers out here, a lot of them crying because they don't know how they're going to make ends meet. But like I said, just like women, as daughters of Yah, as daughters of Zion, y'all got magnificent talents too. A lot of y'all could be your own barbers. There's children of Yah, men of Yah, that's looking for their own barbers where they can go in and talk about the things of Yah. They ain't got to listen to see no behind shaking on the television, but they listening to Alexon's radio while they're getting their hair cut. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So on that note, it's time to come out of the constrictor or the python box that's strangling the very life out of you spiritually. It's time for us to get back to the roots of Abba Yahuwah and allow him to show you what's the very gifts and talents that's in you, because he has need of you. He don't need all of it. He don't need us at all. But I'm just repeating like what he told me when he was telling me to come out of the system. He said, I have need of you. There's a mandate and a demand on your life right now that Yah has many things that he wants to do through you. But you got to be willing to let go. Stop having a tight hold on this, because things are getting ready to shift rapidly, and you either for Yah or against Yah. But just know, when you with Yah, who can be against you, but if you against Yah, you gonna lose that fight. Just point blank straight. We about to see a lot of, like it says in telling him 91,000 may fall at my side and 10,000 at my right hand, but it will not come near my dwelling, or should I say near my tent. Your tent is your home. Your tent is also your body where the Ruach HaKodesh dwells. And just, let me add another thing. Because you're in alignment with Yah, Yah can easily spare your family. Joseph's family was spared. Rahab was used when Caleb and Yahushua came up in there, and they said, hey, get your family members and put them in your house. If they're not there and they out there in the street when we come in and destroy, their blood is not on our hands. Another one, Noach and his family, there was 8. So as long as you is in your position, don't worry about your family. And they're going to be a witness, because when things get hard and they're going to see you flourish, and they're going to be like, I want to serve this Yah you serve. Please let us know. Teach us his ways. So don't stress out where you are right now financially, because Yah has a plan for that too. But just know it's in your hands, and you have to reap the fruit of your labor. Because it's in Proverbs about lazy men, but those that work diligently, there's great rewards, and they won't lack anything. But those that are lazy, they're going to have poverty in their house. And we're about to see that, because a lot of people are depending on things. They're not using the resources of what they're getting from man's payment to really sow back into themselves, because they're not reading the word. And that's the whole being fruitful and multiply. So on that note, I hope this word of encouragement encourages you. I hope it makes you really sit down and think about where you are, where your mindset is with Yah. Are you trusting Yah, or you still have your foot halfway in, or you've been double dutching, as in, do I want to, I got to take care of this though, when Yah is your provider for everything. Now, if he got you in school, that's a stepping stone as well. Let him be the one to order your steps in everything that you do, because he's not going to steer you the wrong way. But I just want to encourage you, if your family's been looking at you strange because you're just like, oh, I think I want to do this, and it's like, oh, that's old school, now we in a new age. Don't listen to them, because they don't understand, but Yah understands. So on that note, y'all have a Baruch Yom. And like I said, I allow that this has really touched your hearts, and you go seek Yah for wise counsel, what it is he has in the inside of you that is going to be fruitful and multiply, but pay off your debt, but also help other people. And especially in that time of famine, is going to be highly requested and high demand. But on that note, if anything in your house been stressing you out, or you finding yourself trying to keep up with other things, and you seeing it's draining your pockets more than bringing provision in, then you need to ask Yah to help you break from that. Because it takes 30 to 60 days to break a bad habit. So whatever those habits are, ask Yah to shine his light upon it, those things that's hidden in the dark that Satan is still using to draw you away from Yah, but to draw you back into Yah. So, but create a more healthier habit for your life. So may y'all be Baruch as always. And I'll see you next time on Out the Box Kingdom. Talk with me, Out the Box Kingdom. Barak Shalom.